Hey, I'm Garrett from Silent Planet, and music is my life. Is the song Albuquerque by Weird Al Yankovic. We used to play GoldenEye. Do you remember GoldenEye, the N64 video game? We used to play GoldenEye and listen to Weird Al because I grew up in a wonderful, slightly conservative household. They didn't want me listening to a lot of like cursing secular music. So we would listen to the parodies that Weird Al made, and I don't even know if Albuquerque isn't even a parody. I don't know if you know who Weird Al is. It's like a 12-minute monologue. The funny thing is, now I do these kind of monologues in my band's music, and I'm thinking maybe that like spoken word storytelling is from Weird Al Yankovic telling a like really absurd story that I found hilarious when I was like 7 years old. But yeah, who knows? Hybrid Theory. Yes, the first album I ever bought was Linkin Park Hybrid Theory, and my mother was a little concerned when he heard me saying shut up when I'm talking to you like 10 times in a row, but I got away with it, and that kind of got me into more angsty music, and now I'm a dude who screams. Was probably Eminem's The Eminem Show. I remember listening to it in 7th grade and just being taken aback by like the range of emotions, you know, that I heard, because I always heard like, oh, Eminem, he's this really like evil, angry rapper, you know, like you'll go to hell if you listen to him or something, is kind of what I what one of my conservative school teachers told me. But when I heard it, it was so human, and he's talking about all these things he goes through and deals with. And I felt like I connected with this guy who I had never met, you know, and I probably had nothing in common with. And that album really, really blew my mind and kind of expanded me into thinking about music very lyrically. And ever since, for me, unlike most of my band, for me, music is really a lyrical journey. And I see the lyrics first. And so I think Eminem kind of opened that for me. I don't know. Maybe that's not as much of American. I don't know if we have like, because I can only think of the as we go on, we remember. But is it TLC? I think it's TLC. It's like a 90s pop song. That's the only song I can think of. So I guess I'll say that one, but I don't really know if I have a graduation song. Besides, I think that song's literally called The Graduation Song. So. The embarrassing thing about me is I graduated like too much because I was afraid to go into the real world. So I kept studying and graduating. And I skipped my last graduation because I was on tour, and it was like, I don't care. My parents don't even care at this point. They're just like, you got another degree, okay, whatever. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. We'll say TLC, The Graduation Song. Was probably Under Oath's Define the Great Line. It came out in 2006, but I really actually didn't realize how good it was until 2008. Probably, and that's about when I started doing this whole band thing about a decade ago, so probably them, and thanks, Spencer. Probably Oceano's District of Misery. You know, like everyone plays that breakdown, dun 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 dun, with the blast beats, dun dun. It's like the most like infectious drum thing. Any like super metal drummer will always warm up to it. But that song's been out for like a decade, and I still love it. Still think about it all the time. And the funny thing is, the crosswalks in New Zealand and Australia are the same metronome time as that drum part. It's so weird. So, because in America, it might like some of the crosswalks, because they do it, I think, for people who are deaf. Some of the crosswalks will be like bum, 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 but yours is and it's like a blast beat thing. So every time we hear that, we actually talk about, dude, that's the Oceano District of Misery breakdown. So yeah, that song. We literally, at one point, we played it at the same time as it, and it actually works. So if you're in New Zealand or Australia, listen to Oceano District of Misery, and that's all you'll ever think about when you cross the street, is crowd killing your friends. Would probably be anything Kendrick Lamar's ever written, because I think he's the best like modern lyricist. Him and probably Aaron Weiss from Me Without You. two very different genres, but two people who I think are one in a million, you know, gifts, like almost artifacts of writing. And so I think any of those, like if I could, especially anything from off of To Pimp a Butterfly, if I could write that, that would probably mean I possess the quality to write songs for the rest of my life that aren't just annoying, so yeah. There's probably a song called Depths 2. We play it every night. We'll play it at the end of tonight, if you happen to be there. I think it is because, so for most of my songs, it takes me months to write, and I kind of write them like research papers. Like I get all my citations, and I try to like really bring all these sources together. That song was actually coming out of, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and at the time, I was actually doing therapy for college students, and it was a really scary time in my life because this band I didn't think was going to work out, and I was a little depressed about that. I had a lot of stuff go on, led to like this little bit of kind of a psychotic break, and in the midst of all of that, I found solace in a pre-production track that our guitarist had sent me, and I wrote that song in like a day or less because it was based off of like kind of a vision I had during that time. And so that song will always feel like my conversation with God, sort of, because I wasn't trying really, I was like almost describing, you know? And so that song, still every night when we play it, I feel like I'm re-describing this kind of salvation thing that like pulled me out of this hell I was in. And being able to do that every night in front of people is sometimes can feel a bit unnerving almost. It's like I'm kind of bearing my soul in front of people, and that guy in the back is just drunk and doesn't even care. But at the same, you know, the same measure, I think that's my favorite song because that's probably the realest thing I'll be able to write ever. Yeah. My most played album, well, it's probably the pre-production tracks of our songs because I sit there in the studio and I listen to all of them at least 700 times. So on iTunes, that's what would pop up. But that sounds super conceited, but it's not about quality, it's just about work. But my favorite album, my most played album that's not ours, would probably be Me Without You's Brother Sister album that they came out with in 2006. I think it was our friends in Era, a band called Era from the United States. They came out with an album just like a week ago called Drift. It's a good album, and yeah, I think it's the last time I listened to music actually. But they did a good job. Good job, Jesse, or JT, if you're watching this.